Alright. See if we can't find the stream. There it is there, loading onto the channel. Yeah, audio's working as it should. Go away, Twitch. Nobody likes you. Alright, we shouldn't be too far away from the start of everything. To no surprise again, attendance is quite low. When the clock reaches 0, I'll start the intro as per normal. Hello everyone and welcome to round 16 of the AM1 Championship here on Contest of Speed. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and today we're racing at Shanghai International Circuit for the Chinese Grand Prix. Constructed in 2004 and designed by track-making supremo Herman Tilke, Shanghai is well known for being one of the most mediocre racetracks in the world of Formula One. The 3.39 mile 16-turn racetrack is not a terrible circuit by any means. There are a plethora of overtaking opportunities, with areas such as the two DRS zones that lead into Turn 1 and Turn 14, as well as the heavy braking zones at Turn 6 and Turn 11. From a driving perspective, the high-speed sweepers of Turn 7 and 8 are quite intense and quite rewarding when you get them absolutely spot on. But the rest of the circuit isn't particularly appealing. The opening four corners on the circuit, though iconic, are tedious and forces the driver to be patient, otherwise they'll fall foul to the terrible game physics of F1 22. The traction zones at Turn 4, Turn 10 and Turn 13 are very tricky thanks to the fact you're turning while accelerating, making it all the more likely to spin out and lose control. Hopefully, with the circuit's positives and pitfalls, we get to see an exciting race today, even with the 13-car field. But before all of that, there is a bit of news to go through first from last week's race in Singapore. Only a single incident report, which is quite surprising considering what I saw during that race. And indeed, it was an incident that I saw during the stream. An incident between No Name and Johnny Damon, a collision at Turn 8, and the verdict was a 5-second time penalty and 1 penalty point to No Name, which isn't a surprise at all. But even with the time penalties applied, no driver moves from their final finishing position, so the results remain completely unchanged. In the Drivers' Championship, Vermu is leading the way on 256 points, and I believe that the round at Abu Dhabi that we were meant to have is no longer going ahead. So that means we only have one round to go after this event here at Shanghai. And I do believe as a result, Vermu is our Drivers' Champion for Season 11 in the AM1 Championship. Because Barmer in P2 is on 214 points. He's 42 points behind Vermu, and he's not here for this event here at Shanghai. He's off competing in iRacing. Darth Vader is third in the standings on 90 points, followed by Electric Blade, also on 90 points. Cam Tizzle rounds out the top 5 on 86, followed by Drake Dempsey on 78, Bersey on 59, Stubley on 58, Switchback on 35, Elite Game Boy rounds out the 10 on 34 points. In the Constructors, I do believe it's going to be a fairly similar story. Ferrari lead the way on 345, followed by Red Bull on 298. And the Red Bull driver competing today is a reserve driver, so I don't believe their points are counted in the final results. I'll have to double check that. But more than likely, Ferrari will wrap up the Constructors' Championship after this round here at Shanghai. Next in the order is Alpine on 176, followed by Haas on 162, McLaren on 141, then Williams on 134. Aston Martin are next on 61 points, followed by Mercedes on 57, Alfa Romeo on 53, and AlphaTauri at the bottom on 42 points. But that's it in terms of the news. We can now focus here on Johnny Damon as he begins the lap here at Shanghai. Through Turn 1, as I mentioned before, you have to be so patient through this section. Around the hairpin at Turn 2, then the hairpin at Turn 3, and we'll exit around the left-hander of Turn 4. Gently applying the power, you can see how easy it is to lose control exiting the left-hander. Around Turn 5, completing the first sector, we'll head into Turn 6, a decent overtaking spot on the circuit. We apply the power, we'll head around the long left-hand sweeper of Turn 7. Definitely quite an interesting part of the circuit around Turn 8. Nice and easy on the brakes. Get back on the power as we head around the double left of turns 9 and 10. And we go right round, it seems. That's how tricky it is. And that's one of the traction zones I pointed out in the intro. Turn 4, turn 10, and turn 13. Very, very easy to get it wrong through those sections. Right on board with Nortec as we head around turn 11, then turn 12, and then around the long right-hand sweeper of turn 13. You have to be very, very patient here. You'll eventually reach full throttle as he heads onto the long back straightaway. He'll open DRS and send it down towards turn 14 as Stubley sets the benchmark for everyone else to beat, a 1 minute 33.3. Down to second gear, clipping the apex, back on the power, and out of turn 15. Yes, that little kink in the corner on this racetrack, and around the final corner of turn 16. Back onto the main straight, crossing the line to set a 1 minute 33.608. A little under 3/10 of a second of Stubley's provisional pole time. No Name is doing some lawn mowing in his Mercedes-Benz, so evidently he's made a mistake around turn 9. He's ended up in the grass. With J, a reserve driver in the Red Bull, with J69 invalidates there at the exit of turn 10, just understeering wide. Now, Exotic, I don't know. Aston Martin driver is reserving for today. Harris Flex getting ready for a run. Cam Tizzle on a flying lap. He'll make his way around the final corner and back onto the main straightaway. He'll set a 1 minute 33.198. He takes provisional pole away from Stubley. Vermeulen on the hard compound tyre, it seems, for this opening qualifying run. He'll make his way up towards the line to set a 34.5, slowest of all on the hard compound tyre. That is expected. Shane, another reserve driver, making his way around turn 1. He must have invalidated at the final corner, which resulted in his following flying lap to be invalidated as well. So he's just leisurely making his way around the circuit. We saw... No, I didn't see No Name do the same. So he must have done the same as Shane. He's invalidated this flying lap. Exotic getting ready for a run. Harris Plex on a flying lap. A couple of drivers setting times. Grimmer 34.5. Chase at 33.6. He's only 300ths off Nortec's time in P3. There's a tricky complex of 11, 12 and 13. You have to be so careful on the accelerator through here, especially if you're not running traction control. Send it down this incredibly long back straightaway towards the turn 14 hairpin. As well, that's not good. He's just left the session. Evidently his connection isn't all that good right now, so he's teleported back into pit lane. Jay making his way out of turn 10 again, sideways and again understeering wide. Needs to try and back off at turn 10. He's carrying far too much speed. The front end isn't gripping in. He's just understeering wide. Thankfully, though, he hasn't spun out and put it into the barrier, and he hasn't invalidated this lap either. The DRS and head down towards turn 14. Speed's climbing over 203 miles an hour, indicated there. Around turn 14, and this little kink here, this is turn 15. I have absolutely no reason why that's two corners. Turn 15 is essentially a continuation of 14, so I have no idea why they decide to classify that as a individual corner, but they do, so I'm not going to question it. Johnny Dayan making his way around turns 3 and 4, up towards the small kink of turn 5. Get on the brakes hard, bringing it down from 184 miles an hour to an apex speed of just over 50 there at turn 6. He'll make his way towards turn 7 and 8. 6th gear, modulating the throttle, trying to hug the inside line all the way around the left-hander, now around the right of turn 8, then through the double left of 9 and 10. Nice and tidy out of turn 10. No understeer, no oversteer at all from Damon's Haas. Now, through the final sector, around turn 13. Eventually reaches full throttle. Heads down the back straightaway. Vermeer also on a lap, it seems. He's on the hard compound tyre. Make his way towards turn 14. 204 miles an hour indicated from Johnny Damon. He'll make his way out of turn 15 and head up towards turn 16, the final corner on the racetrack. Nice and tidy, keeping it within the white lines. He'll cross the line to set a 33.9 P6 overall. Vermeer P7 with a 34.1, again on the hard compound tyre. Shane making his way onto the main straightaway, crossing the line to jump up to P2. He's on the front row with a 33.256. Electric Blade getting ready for a run. Harris is back in the lobby. Hopefully he doesn't disconnect again. No Name getting ready for a run. Same with Grim in P9. I think the first of these is Harris. Well, there's commentator's curse for you. Disconnects from the session and teleports back to pit lane. Electric Blade out to the final corner will make his way down the main straight, crossing the line to begin a flying lap attempt. As Vermeer is off into the gravel trap, he's trying to get himself disqualified, it seems. He wants to start from the back. While doing so, I can't see how much time we have left in this qualifying session. Out of turn 4, up towards the small kink of turn 5, we have 8 minutes left in the session, so got plenty of time left on the clock. There's the AI of Vermeer making its way back towards the circuit instead of despawning, because this game is stupid and poorly made. Electric Blade making his way around turn 8 and towards turns 9 and 10. Brings it down to third gear, flicking between the brake and the accelerator there, or flicking the steering wheel as well as he loses control. In the gravel trap he goes. Make his way back onto the circuit, pointing back in the right direction, but he's ruined his flying lap attempt. No Name heading up towards the same section, round turn 9, short shifting up to 4th gear, short shifts up to 5th gear out of turn 10, as he heads towards turns 11, 12, and the tricky right-hander of turn 13. Gently applying the power, reaching 70, 80, 90, then eventually reaching 100% throttle as he heads onto the back straightaway. DRS open on the Mercedes-Benz as he heads towards the hairpin. 205 miles an hour indicated. Yeah, I completely understand that, Joe. Turns 9 and 10 are a horrible part of the circuit, especially in F122. No Name will cross the line to set a 34.4, goes in front of his teammate by 1/10 of a second. Stubley now jumps to the top of the board, 1 minute 33.169. He's just beaten Cam Tizzle's time by just a little under 3/100ths of a second. Now, that's something I mentioned in the intro. There are several traction zones around this circuit that can very, very easily catch drivers out. And especially with the terrible, terrible physics of this game, it's so easy to lose control. Even when you're on soft tyres, with very little fuel in the car, it's so easy to lose it. Cam Tizzle on a flying lap attempt. He'll be trying to take pole position away from Stubley. Doesn't have to improve by much. Makes his way out of turn 2 and around turn 3. Coming out of turn 4, full throttle, traction control doing its work. Heading up towards the first sector split, he's up by 48,000. Yeah, I've heard the same, Jay, but I'm not taking anything for granted. We'll wait and see what the game is like on release. And you can't really trust the beta either. The beta is very, very different to what the game is going to be when it releases. Not to mention as well, but EA have got a very firm grasp on how much content is being revealed about F123. Like, you look at content creators that focus on Formula 1, all their content is the exact same on the same day. Whether it will be revealing breaking point, testing the in-game physics, having a look at the Vegas circuit, they all did a reaction on the same day. So the content we're being shown is very restricted, very limited. So there's certain things that EA don't want us to see before release, because obviously it's nowhere near finished yet. As Cam Tizzle, he's got one corner to go, turn 16, will make his way back onto the main straight, up towards the line. It's a 1 minute 33.132. He improves by 65 thousandths of a second and retakes pole position. Shane getting ready for a run. In fact, it's quite close for pole at the moment. The top 6 are separated by half a second. You can definitely find half a second around a racetrack like this. A lot of tricky technical areas to try and deal with. A lot of tricky traction zones to have to deal with as well. Shane getting ready for a flying lap attempt. Round the hairpin he goes. He'll switch on the battery shortly. Getting some final extra temperature into his tyres. He's not on a push lap, I see. He's doing a preparation lap, so we'll have a look elsewhere, see what other drivers are up to. Jay on an out lap, Blade on an out lap, Cam on an in lap. What about Johnny? What are you up to? Oh, you're on a flyer. You're up by 1/10 of a second to the opening sector. Very tidy out of turn 10. No oversteer, no understeer. Using a healthy amount of curb. He's up by a little over 2.5 tenths. In fact, if he can find a little bit more time here in the final sector, he might be able to challenge the top 6. Tidy out of turn 13. Maybe a bit narrow. Could have afforded to use a bit more throttle through the corner. Force the car wider at the exit of turn 13. Pulls it up, just about. A bit too hot though. Bit too quick at the apex. The car didn't grip up. It didn't want to rotate. Ooh, maybe a bit of understeer as well there at turn 16. And yeah, he lost time. He does improve. He stays P7 though, with a 33.7. Shane on a prep lap, so he's just trying to dump away extra fuel, so then the car is nice and light for his final flying lap attempt. Nortec out on track, Stubley out on track. Cam's in the pit lane, and we got 2 minutes left in qualifying, so the likelihood is he won't be able to set another flying lap. That will be the benchmark for everyone else to try and beat. Speaking of which, Electric Blade will make his way into turn 6. He's yet to set a lap time. He is currently P12. He'll make his way up towards the long left-hand sweeper of turn 7. You can see him modulating the throttle. Nice curb cam there at turn 7. Round turn 8 and up towards turns 9 and 10. But yeah, modulation is definitely a word that I would use to describe this circuit. You can see it everywhere with drivers having to constantly modulate the throttle at basically every single area around the circuit. Look at him modulating the throttle, coming out of turn 12, round turn 13. See the telemetry, waiting. There we go. We eventually reach full throttle. Head down the back straightaway, up towards the hairpin at turn 14. Stubley up to, he's getting ready. Nortec's beginning a flying lap. We'll go back to Blade. Into the hairpin. Cam retires. That's it. That's the benchmark. 1 minute 33.132. Blade, one corner left. Turn 16. Fourth gear. Back on the power. He doesn't invalidate the lap. Where will this put him? It will put him at the top of the board. 1 minute 33.051. Provisional pole for Blade. And it's an Alpine 1-2. But we've got a lot of drivers on flying laps here. Stubley on 1, making his way around turn 3 and turn 4 towards the first sector split. What does the clock say to the first sector? He's up by a fair chunk, by almost 0.3 of a second. Nortec on the flying lap, crossing the middle sector split. He's up by 0.1 of a second. Needs to find a bit more time throughout the rest of the lap. Shane making his way onto the back straightaway towards the hairpin at turn 14. Can he take provisional pole away from Blade? Stubley making his way up towards the middle sector split. He hasn't invalidated his lap, and he's up still by almost 0.4 of a second. One corner left for Shane. It's turn 16. Back onto the main straightaway, up towards the line. It's a 33.190 P4 for the reserve driver. Nortec up towards the line. He'll set a 32.9. He takes provisional pole away from Blade, but Stubley's on a mega lap here. He's potentially looking at a mid-32, so long as he doesn't invalidate here at the final corner. Fifth gear back on the power, keeps him within the white lines. Stubley will take pole position away from Nortec, setting a 32.731. Exotic, he's done. Chase is done as well. So that's it. Qualifying over, and it's Stubley who will start from pole position for the Chinese Grand Prix. Hello, Kaden. Nice to see you in the chat. So, results from qualifying. It's Stubley who will start from pole position. Nortec will start alongside him on the front row. Then it's an all-Alpine second row with Blade in third, then Cam Tizzle in fourth. Shane will round out the top five with Exotic in P6, followed by Chase in seventh, then Johnny Damon. Harris Flex ended up qualifying ninth after his connection issues throughout that session. No Name will round out the top 10. We have Grim with J69, followed by Vermu, who deliberately disqualified himself. He's starting from the back of the grid. And just to remind those who have just joined, I do believe Vermu has just been crowned the AM1 Drivers' Champion for Season 11. Mr. Barmer is not here for this event, and the rescheduled Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, I don't believe is set to go ahead after Brazil. So I do believe that he's wrapped up the Drivers' Championship. Now, if I remember from the report, we're not set for any wet weather conditions for the race here at Shanghai. At least I don't believe we were meant to. I'll double check, folks, just to make sure, because I'm just that nice. Let's have a look-see. Announcements. Yeah, so it was meant to be overcast for the beginning, as it is. You can see a bit of cloud cover here and there, a bit of grey, low-hanging cloud. But it is set to clear up later in the race. There we are. Getting close to the beginning of the formation lap. Drivers making final little adjustments to their car, deciding what kind of strategy they want to go with, deciding how much fuel they want in their car. It's been a while since I've done a race at Shanghai. I don't really know what the fuel burn is like for this particular event. And with the relatively small field, the likelihood of a safety car is quite low. So drivers might need to carry a little extra fuel just to make sure they don't run out of any. Alright, don't need telemetry. I need details. It's a bit of a mix, to be totally honest. We'll run through the order. So we have Stubley, who qualified on pole position with a 32.7. He's on the hard compound tyre. Nortec, who will start alongside him on the front row, is on the medium. Electric Blade in P3 is also on the medium compound tyre, and the Alpines are on a split strategy with Cam Tizzle on the hard compound tyre. Then the following 5 cars: Shane in P5, Exotic in P6, Chase in P7, Johnny Damon in P8, and Harris Flex in P9 are all starting on the medium compound tyre. No Name, who rounds out the top 10, is starting on the hard. Graham in P11 is on the medium compound tyre. Jay is doing the same in P12, with Vermu starting from the back on the hard compound tyres. So 4 on the hards, that means 9 on the medium compound tyre. There's predicted pit stop strategy. Pit window, lap 12 to 16 for the medium runners. So just quickly write that down so I can remember. 12 to 16 laps. Good to know. As Vermeer does an oopsie at turn 11, he reset himself to track. As he's desperately trying to get temp into his tyres. Rest of the field doing a pretty good job. Vermeer sending it down the back straightaway, weaving about. He needs to make sure he's got temperature, so does everyone else on the hard tyre, especially Stubley. He could very, very easily get swamped at the start on the hard tyre. Same with Cam in P4, especially with the notion that 4 drivers behind him are starting on the medium compound tyre. They should do a lot better after lights out. And he's stuck on the inside as well, so it invites those on the mediums to fly around the outside at turn 1. So potentially Cam and Stubley could lose positions at the start. Alright, all 13 drivers are now lined up ready to run. We've got 28 lengthy laps in front of us. 5 red lights. And we're underway here at Shanghai. It's a nice start from the Alpine of Electric Blade. No, sorry, that's Cam Tizzle who's had the nice start. He's battling his teammate through turn 1. As we head towards turn 2, the Alpines are side by side. Cam forcing the issue. He's on the grass there. He stuck his nose in down the inside of Nortec at turn 2. He ultimately got the short end of the stick. Now battling Shane as we head around turn 5 and up towards turn 6. Blade bombs it down the inside of Nortec. Off the racetrack goes Mercedes-Benz. I think that was Grimm. My goodness. Absolutely straight on there. Jay Grimm, or it might have been No Name actually, who went off the racetrack. It was definitely a Mercedes. Exotic, a terrible start. Battling away with Damon here. And a spin in the background. It's No Name. He's in the wall. Exotic, Damon heading towards turn 12. Who's in front here? It's Damon in the Haas. He'll take P10. Yeah, shocking start for the Aston Martin drivers. He's going to try and retake the position around the outside of turn 13. Your leader is Stubley, Electric Blade in P2. Then the 2 Alfa Romeos of Nortec and Shane in P3 and 4. Cam Tizzle rounds out the top 5. Blade had a look but didn't fully commit to the move. Chase moving by Harris. That is for P6. Grem gets by. Oh, Exotic. Not quite. Grem running wide. Results in him getting a time penalty. And he stays in P12. A bit wide there from the Aston Martin driver as he closes in on Johnny Damon. Looking around the outside. Heading into turn 1. He has the grip. But Damon has the line. The Haas driver hangs on to P10. The move, predictably, has had a pretty good start from 13th position. He's already up to 8th, and he's got Harris Flex in his sights. Around turn 6, up towards turn 7, Damon and Exotic still going at it. Damon doesn't get the traction. The Aston Martin moves through into 10th. Can Damon fight back? He is close. But you don't typically overtake through this section. It stays behind. Stays in P11. Stubley hanging on to the race lead. He's done well at the start to hang on. He's able to get those tyres nice and warm on the formation lap as Vermeer gets by Harris. That is for P7. Yellow's out. It's Johnny Damon spinning at turn 13. Blade closing in. Not by enough though to attack into the turn 14 hairpin. He stays behind. Normtech P3, Shane P4, Cam's in 5th. Cam actually had quite a good start on those hard compound tyres. Oh, and into the wall goes the Williams of Harris Flex. losing control there at the final corner. Tumbles down the order. Around turn 2 and around turn 3. Cam actually got quite a good start. It's just he was too over-enthusiastic. He tried to shove his nose down the inside of Nortec at turn 2. It was never going to work. He lost control. He was on the grass. Ultimately lost the position to Shane. But still quite a good start. Similar story with Stubley, who was still holding the race lead. Chase behind in P6, Vermoo in 7th, climbing his way through the order. Oh, and off the circuit, it's Cam Tizzle. He's around, he's blocking the track, and he flies into the runoff area. Thank goodness for that. If he didn't, there might have been a collision, but a mistake from Cam. He's thrown away a solid race start. He's now out of the points in P11. Blade closing in. Stubley can't counter-attack that. Blade is into the lead. Exotic gets by Jay as well. That was for P7. Around the final corner onto the main straightaway. Stubley's a bit too far behind to try and do anything here. The move sets a new faster slab. And is predictable. Closing in on the McLaren of Chase as we head around turn 1. Climbing up the hill into the tight hairpin of turn 2. Into the following tight hairpin of turn 3. Harris is into pit lane as well. Evidently getting damage after a spin at the final corner. Into the hairpin. Again, the not quite close enough to do anything just yet. Go back up towards the leaders. This is the opportunity for Blade to try and pull away, build a margin to those behind, utilise the pace of the medium tyres he's got on right now. Harris, by the way, after his early pit stop, has moved on to the hard tyres. Unfortunately for Blade, he's not pulling away. The gap sits at 0.8 of a second, and Stubley will get a huge helping hand with DRS down the back straight. Shane behind Nortec. Not close enough to attack. Vermoo is though. Chase low on battery. Vermoo looks to the inside, heading into the hairpin. Chase fights back, but to no avail. He's wide. Vermoo gets in front, heading into the final corner, but Chase forces the issue. And a spin for Stubley. He's around at the final corner. He's thrown it away. Tumbles down to 9th position. Here comes his teammate. Demotion one more position, down to 10th. Chase, a great fight back at turn 16. Vermoo gave him a whole heap of room. Chase now in 4th position, with Vermoo making a mistake at the exit of turn 4. Again, it's a tricky traction zone. Very easy to lose control through there. Vermoo did a terrific job keeping control of his Ferrari. This 3-car battle heading around turn 7 and around turn 8. Exotic leading the train, Grim with a time penalty, but within DRS range. Could he potentially close it a little bit on the Aston Martin in front? Maybe try and get into a battle? Time will tell, I suppose. So, can Blade break away? Well, now the gap sits at just over a second. I do believe, though, Nortec will get DRS. He does. Yellow's out. Well, there's a mistake from Exotic. He's around. Oh, and front wing damage too. You can see the debris, and he's stuck. He's stuck on the outside curb. He's reset the track. Now, I'm a supporter of that. When you get stuck, you really don't have many other options. But how did he destroy his front wing? Does Graham have damage, out of curiosity? He does not. Alright, so whatever hit Exotic. It didn't do damage to their car, only to Exotic's car. The Aston is into pit lane. Grimm fighting around the outside, which turns to the... Oh my word, that was lag. Oh, that's actual contact there between Grimm and Jay. Grimm barges his way through into 6th position. But I do believe Grimm would have been the first car arriving at the scene of Exotic spinning. So I do believe if any car hit Exotic, it had to be Grimm or Jay. It would have to be one of these two. And it looks like neither of them have damage. Here's your top three: Blade, Nortec, Shane, all on the same strategy. Chase behind him, P4, he's got Vermeil on his tail. Down the main straight. Nortec still has DRS. He's not giving up on this. Shane in hot pursuit. Vermeil closing in at a rate of knots. Looks to the inside. Gets the car in front, well into the braking zone. Moves in front into P4. Thank you for the follow, Slow F1. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully everyone's enjoying the show. And Stubley's moved in front of his teammate. He's up to P8. He's on the recovery drive after what happened at the final corner. Got a lot of work to do. As he demonstrated in qualifying, he's got a fair bit of pace in that Haas. He needs to make full use of it in this race. Especially right here, right now, when the field is still relatively bunched up. Of course, there's a 6.5 second gap between Grimm and the rest. Grimm and the top 5. As Jay gets by, Grimm makes a mistake. Made a mistake at the exit of turn 6. Must have lost control, went into the infield, and he's lost 2 positions as a result. Jay moves through into P6, Stubley into P7. Back up to the top 3. Nortec just clinging to that DRS range. Still got 46% battery, so he's not in a rush. Yellow's out. It's Exotic spinning at turn 4. Get moving again. So Blade on 22%, Nortec on 41. Shane's got the most out of the top 3. He's on 71%. Stubley round the outside of Jay. Jay taking that defensive line, cost him at the exit of the corner. Stubley with that outside line is able to get all the traction down as Exotic spins again. There we go, he's pointing back in the right direction. You really do have to be careful. When your tyres get hot, you have zero grip. It's like you're driving on ice, so you can't push the car anywhere. You've got to drive the car very, very carefully, let your tyres cool down, and once they do, you'll be able to push again. Around turn 7, Blade still leads. The gap sits at a second. Cam Tizzle gets by Johnny Damon. Damon fights back at turn 6. It's a drag race to turn 7. And it's a drag race that Cam Tizzle wins. He moves in front into P9. There's Grimm right behind Jay. Got Stubley at the front of this train. He'll be trying to pull away from those behind and try and catch up to Chase in P5. Damon close, and if Damon can put together a really solid run here through turn 13, he might be able to launch an attack. Yellow's out again. It's Exotic again. This time at the final corner. He's not having a fun time in that Aston right now. The DRS open, Damon closing in, using some extra battery. Looks to the inside here. Oh, he just about... No, he doesn't. Does not get it pulled up at all. Cam will keep P9. Damon with that mistake is now 1.1 seconds behind his rival and doesn't have DRS down the main straight. Yeah, Johnny braking far too late into the hairpin, goes straight on. And Cam moves in front into P9. Jay, Grim battling away through turn 3 and into turn 4. There's Stubbly. Jay keeps the position. Grim using a little extra battery. Does he bomb it in? No, he doesn't. He stays behind the Red Bull, heading around turn 6. Sector 2 yellows, that's Exotic. Oh my word, he was right in front of the leaders. Blade had to take avoiding action, and I imagine Nortec and Shane had to do the same. And a 10-second time penalty as well for exceeding track limits for the Aston Martin driver. As he's desperately trying to get out of the way of just about everybody, it seems. Johnny Damon has spun. That is at turn 10. Down towards turn 14. Nortec looks. Does not commit to a move. Outbrakes himself a little bit there at turn 14. He loses time to the race leader. The gap increases to half a second. Grim gets by Jay. Down the back straight into the hairpin. Now Johnny Damon's having trouble with his tyres. It's pointed back in the right direction eventually. He's now well and truly buried in 11th place. Electric Blade out in front. 4.5 tenths is the gap between the top two now. After what happened earlier with Exotic. Thankfully, the top three are still running and still in the same positions as they were. Shane now breaks himself into the hairpin. Missed the apex by a fair chunk there. Thankfully, he finds enough rotation to stay within a second of his teammate. As Exotic pits as he retires from the session. Johnny Damon gets a 5-second time penalty as well. That is for speeding into pit lane. His race isn't over yet, but he elects to retire from the session anyway. He's going to mention he was still on the lead lap, so there's a chance that he could try and recover from his earlier spins, but he elects to retire anyway. We're down to 11 cars as Shane moves through into P2, overtaking Nortec. And Shane has the opportunity to try and take the race lead. Well, this has been going on in the top three. Vermu has joined the party. He's only 1 second behind the top three. And as soon as he creeps into DRS range, we'll have a 4-car battle at the front as Chase pits in. Cam, Jay, battling after the hairpin. Round turn 15. Cam gets in front. Jay tries to fight back. Oh, it's tight, but they both get through. Cam into 8th place. Set of hard compound tyres being put on Chase's car. He'll leave pit lane. He should exit in 10th position behind No Name. Oh, actually, no. He might get out in front. It will be close. There he is. Round turn 1. No Name checks up. On 10 lap old hard, so should be nice and warm. But No Name being very, very careful through this opening sector. So I think Chase should hang on to 9th place here. Here's your top 4 now. Vermu's in the fray. Only 4 tenths behind Nortec. Say, from a strategical standpoint, Vermu's holding all the cards right now. Unless, of course, we have a safety car right about now. Then Vermu's on the back foot. He's on the front foot here. He's drag racing the Alfa Romeo down towards the hairpin at turn 14. He gets in front well before the braking zone and moves into P3. Up towards the final corner, turn 16. Back onto the main straight as Nortec pits in. Oh, does a Hamilton running wide. Pulls it up just in time. And we'll move on to the hard compound tyre. Grim moves into pit lane as well. He does a Hamilton. And rather fittingly, he's in a Mercedes-Benz. Here's your top 3. Blade, Shane, Vermouth. 1, 2, and 3, heading around turn 6. So Nortec comes out in P7. Grimm will come out behind his teammate in P10. Now turn 8 up towards turns 9 and 10. Gap sits at 7/10 of a second. Shane with 46% battery compared to 43 with Blade. So, oh, and Blade runs wide. Oh, he's completely thrown it away there. Outbroke himself at turn 11. Oh. No, he left the session. Has the whole lobby just shut down? Or is it just me? Guess we'll have to find out. Thank you for the follow, Rugrat. That's a great name. Quickly check the Discord just to have a look. I'm guessing I must have DC'd. That's fine, I can go back. Thanks, Joe. DC like this in a while. Alright, so you missed out on a couple of laps. Get back in the lobby. Have another go. Back to this then. It appears that Cam has, Electric Blade rather, has made a pit stop. Yes, he has. He's on hard compound tyres now. So he's made his one and only stop in this race. We head around turn 1 and up into turn 2. It's now Shane who leads Vermouth in second as we head into the turn 8 hairpin. Turn 2 hairpin, round turn 3 and up towards turn 4. Shane close. Not close enough to go for a move just yet. Meanwhile, Stubbly in P13. He's yet to make a pit stop. Once he does, he'll be back down to about P8 or so. Yellow's out. Speaking of P8, No Name spins. There's his teammate Grimm moving by. So No Name down to 9th position now. Through turn 11, then turn 12, and around turn 13. Shane on those medium compound tyres. They won't be feeling too good now after 13 laps. The move, his tyres should still be pretty healthy. We head into the turn 14 hairpin. Shane more than likely will be pitting here. Get off those mediums. Yeah, in he goes. Oh, and in goes Vermouth too. Shane running wide. A lot of people running wide into the pits. So that will mean Stubbly will take the race lead. Still yet to start. Sort of hard tyres being put on Shane's car. There goes Vermouth. Cam moves up into P2. Here comes Electric Blade on fresh tyres. That's the undercut, folks. Working a treat there for Electric Blade. And he'll be able to pull away a little bit more thanks to the fact that Vermoo and Shane have to get their tyres up to temperature. So what was a fairly tight fight between these four cars has resulted in Blade breaking away somewhat, and Vermoo on the mediums is able to get his tyres up to temperature nice and quickly and pull away from Shane, who was under attack from his own teammate heading around turn 7. Shane with the inside line is able to hang on. Nortec trying to find a way by is unable to do so and stays in P6. Chase on the back of the queue. P7 has just seen Shane get a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. The top two, Stubley and Cam, yet to make a pit stop. They'll be pitting in very shortly. Back on the power, nice and easy. Towards the pit lane entry. Studley stays out for another lap. Cam, what does he do? He's in. Pulls the car up. Doesn't do a Hamilton. Way into the pits. Blade will now move up into second place after setting a new fastest lap. But Vermoo is right on the back of him. 7 tenths behind on fresh mediums. He's going to be all over Blade in a matter of moments. Not just laps, in a matter of moments. Out to turn 4, up towards turns 5 and 6. That sits at 5.5 tenths, 3 tenths, 3.5 tenths I should say. We head around turn 7. And turn 8. Up towards turns 9 and 10. The gap sits now at 3 tenths. Oh, he's, as I said, he's going to be all over him on these fresh tyres. Through turn 11, then turn 12. And around the sweeper of turn 13. Look at the grip that Vermoo has on the inside line. Blade taking in the... Oh my word! Oh, and around goes Vermoo! Oh my goodness! So there was contact between those cars, and Vermoo is now down into 6th position. He's been lag punted onto the grass on the inside of the track. He's now down to P6. A humongous hiccup in Vermoo's plans. Stubley now in the pits, who will move on to the medium tyre. Will come out behind Vermoo. Should be in front of Cam though. Should be in P6. Chase battling with Nortec. This is a battle for third, out of turn 4, up towards turn 5, and then the hairpin of turn 6. Chase closes in, looks, but doesn't commit to a move down the inside. Vermoo's got all the catching up to do here. 2.5 seconds is the gap. Down turn 8, up towards turn 9. And then the following left of turn 10. Chase will have DRS down the back straight. Doesn't have a lot of battery to play with compared to Nortec, who's got 40%. You got the lingering, looming expectation that Vermoo's going to join in this battle. And on those medium tyres, he's going to be fairly unstoppable. As we head down towards turn 10, DRS open on Chase's McLaren. He's not close enough to dive bomb it down the inside here at turn 14. He'll stay behind. Vermoo around the final corner is now 1.3 seconds behind Chase as he sets a new fastest lap. 1 minute 35.074. Chase not giving in here. We head around turn 3, up towards turn 4. Chase is not close enough to try and attack into turn 6. Needs to be patient. Try and save up the battery if he can. And use that battery down the back straight away to try and battle Nortec. Because Nortec has got enough straight line speed and enough battery to try and keep Chase at bay. Chase needs to save a bit of battery, or alternatively, use Vermu as a pick to get by Nortec. Through 11, then turn 12. And around turn 13, the long right-hander that leads onto the back straight. Vermu in the slipstream, using some battery. You can see how much straight line speed he has. He opens DRS. Passes the McLaren of Chase, closes in on the Alfa Romeo of Nortec. Doesn't go for a move though. Oh, but Nortec outbrakes himself. Runs wide as we head up towards the final corner. Nortec with the inside line. He's able to hang on to P3, but Vermu's right on the back of him. He'll open DRS and close in, draw alongside, and pass the Alfa Romeo. Around the outside heading into turn 1. So Vermu into P3. Now he has to chase Shane in P2. Nortec occupying 4th place. Now still has a ton of battery to try and play with. Chase, on the other hand, still doesn't have a lot. And now he doesn't have a DRS advantage because Nortec has DRS too. Unless, of course, Vermu can break away. And he is breaking away, just not quite by enough just yet. Now he has. That's how much extra grip Vermu has in that Ferrari. It's now 1.3 seconds, the gap between Nortec and Vermu. So, Chase, can he finally get by? Does he have enough straight line speed to move past the Alfa Romeo? He'll open DRS. He sits in the slipstream, closing the gap up to the car ahead. He switches on the battery, looks to the inside, commits himself, pulls the car up, even gets in front periodically. But Nortec, with better traction out of the hairpin, gets back in front. Chase fights down the inside. He gets DRS as well, Chase. At least he should. He does. Is it enough? Heading into turn 1. It appears to be. Chase moves into P4. Nortec down to 5th. So a nice move there. All set up because of the hairpin at turn 14. He was able to get in front for at least a moment. Then Nortec was able to fight back because of his better exit. Oh, and a poor entry there from Nortec at turn 6. He loses time. Still within DRS range though. But Chase critically was able to fight down the inside at the final corner. Both drivers gave each other enough room. And with DRS, Chase was able to stay in front of Nortec and keep P4. Some very good driving there from both of them. It's a major contrast to what I saw at Singapore. Seeing some pretty good driving for the most part. Here comes Shane. There won't be much Blake can do about this. Through goes the Alpha. Into the race lead. Blade tries to keep a nose alongside but can't do it. Shane is into the race lead. And we're about to end lap 20 and move on to lap 21. 8 laps to go here at Shanghai. And here comes Blade on the counter-attack. Looking down the inside here at turn 1. Blade goes deep into 1. Around the outside, he's able to keep the position, forcing Blade to stay in P2. Meanwhile, Vermu is catching up. Now only 1.7 seconds behind. Still has pretty decent amount of grip on those medium compound tires. They are progressively getting worse. The performance of these tires are becoming more even with the hard tires that both Blade and Shane have on right now. They'll still have a slight advantage, but that advantage is dwindling away. Needs to be on top of his game here, so maximise the pace of the tires that he has right now before they fade away. It's already close to getting DRS. He doesn't quite get it. Just missing out. Gains a lot of time though through turn 13. Going to use a bit of battery. Blade saving some battery. Shane driving away. The gap sits now at 0.7 of a second. We head around the hairpin at turn 14. Vermouth, can he get within DRS range here? He's close. He's very close. Not close enough though at the DRS detection zone. You won't get it down the main straight away as the leaders begin lap 22. Meanwhile, this isn't over between Chase and Nortec. The gap sits at 0.3 of a second. Nortec closes in. Had a little look down the inside, but did not commit to the move. Probably a wise thing to do. It's not a safe thing, dive bombing down the inside into turn 1. You can very easily get turned in on. You can lose control of the front end of the car and spin around. Around the hairpin at turn 6, heading up towards turn 7. That sits at 0.6 of a second. Here's your top 3. Shane, Blade, Vermouth. Less than a second separate these 3. Shane's going to be in a bit of trouble as we head down the back straightaway. Doesn't have a surplus of battery to use either. In fairness, none of them do except for Blade, who still has about 30%. Vermouth down at 14%, but he's got the tyre advantage right here, right now. But as I mentioned before, it is going away. Yellow's out. It's Stubley. Only Haas left in the race. He moves down to P7. It was a guaranteed P6. He's now giving it to Cam. Blade close, but not quite close enough to try and find a way through Shane. The Alfa Romeo maintains the race lead. But for how long? Blade closes in as we begin lap 23. Shane covers the inside. Was that wise? Because Blade invites himself around the outside at turn 1. Tries to keep it alongside him at turn 2, but it's not enough. Shane hangs on to the race lead. Just. Heading down towards turn 6. Blade closing in. Again, not by enough. Vermouth all over the back of this. Again, looking at curb cam there at turn 7. Out of turn 8 and around turns 9 and 10. Blade using just a little bit of battery there. Try and minimise time loss. Evidently he didn't feel confident that he got a great exit out of turn 10, so he needed to use a little bit of battery. Keep up with Shane. We head out of the sweeper and down the back straight. Remember as well, Shane has got a time penalty. I believe it's 3 seconds. It is 3 seconds. So we head around turn 14 and up towards turn 15. Blade, he might be able to set up a move here if he can get a tidy run. He's got a run. Yellow's out. I do believe that's Grim. We'll keep an eye on this battle at the front though. Not close enough at turn 1. Shane hangs on. Oh, Vermouth forcing the issue. Blade covers the inside. Vermouth has traction on the outside. Blade is able to hang on just. Vermouth, will he go for a dive bomb here perhaps? He's deep on the brakes. Not deep enough it seems. He stays in P3. Must have been Grimm who spun at turn 13. Jay only 1.7 seconds behind now. Back towards the front. Here we go, out of turn 10. 6/10 is the gap between the top two. 3/10 is the gap between P2 and 3. As we head around turn 12. Then the long sweeper of turn 13. Vamoo using some battery here. He's in the slip. He's got momentum. He's got overspeed. And he gets in front of Electric Blade well before the braking zone. And Blade almost goes into the back of Vamoo. Gets very close, but doesn't make contact. Vamoo moves into P2. Can he find a way past Shane? DRS open on both Vamoo's and Blade's car. We head up towards turn 1. Up towards turn 2. Vamoo looking for a hole to try and move by Shane into the overall race lead. In truth, all that Vamoo needs to do is stay within 3 seconds of Shane and be in P2 and he wins, thanks to the time penalty that Shane has. He's got 3 seconds next to his name. But I'm sure Vamoo would like to race for the top spot rather than be gifted it. We head into turn 9 and up towards turn 10. Blade. If he wants to have any shot of a race win, I think Vamoo and Shane need to battle. I think that's Blade's best bet. Six-tenths of the gap between Vamoo and Shane. Blade starting to lose touch of the top two. Here comes Vamoo to the inside, heading into turn 14. Shane gives him enough room. Shane is able to get the traction down as well to keep the race lead and keep the inside line at the final corner. Back onto the main straightaway. Yellow's out. It must be no-no. As Vamoo draws alongside, beginning lap 26, he moves around the outside into turn 1 and takes the race lead. Shane, though, fights back at turn 2. Vamoo has the inside line, though, at turns 3 and 4. He gets his Ferrari in front, and he keeps the race lead out of the opening complex. Can Shane fight back here? Oh, my word! See a bit of lag there between Vamoo and Shane. Thankfully, nothing major came from that. Blade is now right on the back of this once again, thanks to the ongoing battle between Vamoo and Shane. No, he's recovered. He's pointing back in the right direction, down in 11th position. Into turn 11. How much life do those tyres have left on Vamoo's Ferrari? He's done a few laps on them. He's done 11 laps. And we saw drivers do about 13 or so before they came in. Does Vamoo have just enough life to hang on while he's moving about, making sure that Shane doesn't get a slipstream down the back straight? We head around the hairpin at turn 14, through the kink of 15, and heading up towards turn 16. Rounding the final corner. Crossing the line, 2 laps to go here at Shanghai. The top 3 separated by 1.3 seconds. Out of turn 2 and around turn 3. 5.5 tenths is the gap as Stubley pits in. He's taking the opportunity to pit onto soft tyres because he wants to try and get fastest lap. That's his game plan, and he's got a big enough gap back to Grimm that he should stay in front. At least I think he should. Might be close. No, Not as close as I thought. So Stubbly will need to move past Grimm so he can have a clear track. Try and set fastest lap. Around turn 12, up towards turn 13. The gap sits at 0.6 of a second. Shane, he'll have DRS. He will be closing in on the Ferrari. Look at the gap shrink as we head towards the hairpin. Shane with momentum. Doesn't go for the move. He stays behind the move. Applying a ton of pressure. Onto the main straight. Beginning the final lap now. Lap 28 of 28 here at Shanghai. Lovely closing in on Grimm. Should see a change in position here. DRS open. Will get by pretty easily. We can shove it to P7 and he'll have a clear track to try and set fastest lap. Round turn 6 for the final time for the race leader. Got a flashing red light. He's all good. He's in the positive when it comes to fuel. Shane and Blade, they're good as well. Double check with Shane. Yeah, he's good. He's good. He's got fuel. For move. He's got 7/10 in hand now. He's got a cushion. Just needs to get through this complex without making a mistake. Round turn 13. Reaches full power. The gap is at 5/10. You shouldn't worry too much. Shane is a bit too far behind. Well, this is a fairly expected result from Vermeulen. It took him a little while to get here, but he's at the front of the field. He'll make his way around the final corner, up towards the checkered flag. Vermeulen will win the Chinese Grand Prix. Blade will come home in a fine second. Shane will complete the podium places in third. Chase P4, Nortec P5. And we'll have Cam Tizzle. He actually takes P5 away from Nortec thanks to the time penalties he had. See those post-race. Stubbly should get fastest lap here, an extra point for his efforts. What could have been for the Haas driver who put it on pole position. He'll finish in 7th with fastest lap. Grimm 8th. Jay will come home in 9th place. He'll score points. Parisplex rounding out the top 10. Our final point scorer. Just a long wait for No Name to reach the checkered flag. See if he can take fastest lap away. 34.3 from Stubbly. Got on that clock. You never know. Using whatever battery he's got left. Don't think he'll quite get there. No, just misses out. Ramu given driver of the day, no surprises there. But here he is, our drivers' champion, making his way onto the podium. An expected driver, as I said earlier. Did take a little while and had a hiccup along the way. But Vermeulen was our race winner here in Shanghai. Electric Blade comes home in a very, very solid P2, with Shane completing the podium places in third. The unofficial results then of the Chinese Grand Prix. Vermu is your race winner by 1.4 seconds to Electric Blade in P2, with Shane completing the podium places in third. We have Chase in P4, Cam Tizzle rounding out the top 5, Nortec in P6, Subley in 7th with fastest lap, Grim in 8th, Jay in 9th, and Harris Plex rounds out the top 10. No Name, our final finisher in P11, missed out on the fastest lap by 0.6 of a second, with 2 voluntary DNS with Johnny Damon and Exotic. An interesting race with only 13 cars in the field. Had plenty of action, plenty of drama. And at the end of the day, a relatively close finish for AM1 standards. But I don't think the race winner is too much of a surprise. It was expected that Vermu will get back to the front. But no. For that comeback and with the drama throughout the rest of the field, it ended up being a pretty decent race. Definitely exceeded my expectations. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Jay. You ended up scoring some points for yourself, which is always a positive thing in your first race. I remember doing my first ever league race. It was at Bahrain. Went absolutely horribly. Absolutely terrible. Ended up recovering pretty well though in the following race at Shanghai. Ended up scoring a podium finish. I'm glad that you ended up enjoying yourself, Jay. And hopefully everyone else enjoyed the coverage of this Chinese Grand Prix. Certainly an interesting one. Congrats again to our top 3, Vermu, Blade and Shane. Put together a fairly entertaining display, as well as the rest of the field. It's fulfilling a lifelong belief that I've had in regards to league racing in F1, that field size doesn't dictate race quality. It's always nicer to have bigger fields, but sometimes smaller fields really do turn it on. We had a pretty decent race, so it was quite good. I think, folks, that will wrap everything up. And now wrap up the stream. I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week for what will most likely be the final round of the championship, round 17 at Autodromo José Carlos Pache for the Brazilian Grand Prix. No better spot in the world of Formula One to end the championship than Interlagos. Should be a lot of fun. But until then, it's goodbye.